Ryan Pierce, how you doing, brother?
Pretty good, man. How you been? It's been a while.
Yes. Wow. It's been a while. It's been, what, 2016, 2015, somewhere around
I think
there?
so. I think it was probably 2015. Siebold had me go down to shoot the team match with you guys in Arizona.
Right.
And I brought my now wife, Jody, girlfriend at the time, like 6 months into the relationship. I'm like, hey, you want to go to Arizona and just drive down there for 40 shots? And then we'll just putz around for a while after that. And so, yeah, Siebold let me use his gun and ammo, and we went down there, shot 40 rounds, and went and enjoyed the scenery after that. And I think that was one of the last matches I ever shot for a long time.
Yeah, for 10 years.
Yeah, pretty much 9 or 10 years. Yeah, it was
a
long time. But, life gets busy. You just start doing other things, and there's only so much time. It's either shoot matches or, build guns or go hunting, and you can't do all of them all at the same time. So
yeah,
just kind of got to pick your battles.
Absolutely. So, when did you become a gunsmith?
I think I got my FFL in 2010.
Okay.
2011, something like that.
Yeah, because I remember talking to you in 2015 when you came down. You were talking about you getting really busy doing your rifle builds.
Yep.
And
hunting rifles and stuff.
So anyway, for those of you that guys watching that don't know who this is Ryan Pierce, Piercision Rifles, old shooting buddy of mine. He shot on Team Lapua with us a few times. I met you back in 2010 at the Spirit of America match.
Yeah.
And then we kind of became friends and shot together and all that good stuff. And then one day you were just, you brought a real pretty lady with you, and then you were nowhere to be found for a decade.
Yep.
Which is understandable. But, I've been keeping up with you, off and on. I mean, your, Piercision rifles, you kind of seem to have for some reason, I thought you would be more into building competition rifles because that's what you did. But it seems like hunting rifles, it's your thing.
Yep. It's I got into the hunting rifles. I started just using the same techniques that I'd used to build the rifles that I won a bunch of stuff and some records and stuff like that with, and started building the hunting rifles. And it was just gravitated towards, really lightweight rifles, carbon barrels, carbon stocks, light actions, and all that. And the demand picked up enough that I had to build a new shop and get a lot more space and inventory and all that stuff because guys didn't want to wait, over 12 months for a rifle. So I just started ordering up all the parts that you need for the builds, actions, barrels, stocks, bottom metal, scopes, just everything here. It's in stock. I'll start building the rifles, and it just kept taking off from there. And it just got busy. I've ended up getting a Haas TL1. I figured as a one-man shop, I need to expedite stuff as, without dropping quality, you need to make it as efficient as possible. So I got a TL1 and put one of those true bore alignment system chucks in it, and took me a while to figure out how to do it. I had a guy out in Arizona, flew out and said, take a lot of notes because I'm going to give you 12 months worth of education in 1 week. So I had never ran a CNC prior to that. So, but running a manual lathe, you figure it out, what you need to do. And so I figured out how to do the programs after that, so got everything going, and it's taken off pretty good and staying pretty busy, fortunately. So
a lot of gunsmiths kind of back in the day, even to this day, a lot of them think manual's the way to go, kind of old school. But my goodness, a CNC, it's like anything else. If you know how to run it, you're gonna be able to produce the exact same, if not better quality, faster.
Yeah.
And one thing that a lot of people think is, well, it's CNC, so it's better. Not necessarily. You have to know how to run it. And but yeah, I mean, those Haas TL1s, TL2s, those are, in my opinion, some of the best machines for gunsmithing barrels.
Yeah.
Simply because of the size, the form factor, and they're fairly easy to program.
Yeah. Yep. It was, the guy wrote a bunch of programs for me, and then, you watch the screen, and you can figure out the programs after a while. You can look at it and be like, oh, this number's doing this. That means this tool's doing this and all that. And it's like, okay, so when you need to modify something, you know how to do it. It took a little bit to figure that out, but now I can, write my own programs and all that stuff, modify them. And I never went to school for it. It's just, you look at a screen long enough, you're going to start figuring that stuff out. But, well, like you said, you gotta know how to have the program do what you need it to do. You need to have the barrel in there stress free, indicated in properly, because there's a lot of setups out there that you may think it's stress free, but it's not.
Right.
And so you could, with those methods, you could put the barrel in and out 5 times or whatever, and it's gonna give a different reading on the muzzle each time, even though you're indicated in at the throat. If you're you indicate the barrel in and measure the muzzle run out, to time it. And then if you were to take the barrel out and restart it, you should have the exact same measurement on that muzzle. If you don't, then you have stress somewhere. You're bending the barrel to get it to read what you want it to. And then, as when you take the barrel out of the chuck, if there's stress on it, it goes back to its relaxed straight state, and then your machining's crooked. So that was the big thing, is getting it stress free and rigid. So
right. Yeah. So rigidity, right? It's a fine balance that you got to find, right? Because you have to hold it really tight, but at the same time, don't add stress to it. And that's the key right there. But you've been focusing on hunting rifles. What kind of rifle? I assume long range, or just everything?
Yeah. Mostly lightweight, long range rifles. Most of the stuff is like the 300 Norma improved. I have There's a ton of designs out there. There's the Wheeler one. Mine and his are pretty similar. There's like 2 degrees difference in the shoulder, but other than that, the base diameter is pretty much the same, within a couple tenths, I believe, and then everything else is within. They're pretty much the same. But what you need to do, what we found out, me and Alex used to talk a lot when Lapua first started coming out with that 300 Norma brass, and we were messing with our designs and we were sharing stuff back and forth, and I found out that stuff is so tough that you need to size that base. That die needs to be smaller than what you would make it for most other cartridges, because that brass is so tough that it just takes that much more to squeeze it down, so you don't get those clickers. So Bullet Central's got some dies for me for my version. They got dies for Alex's version. You can get Alex's his reamer from JGS. Mine's not publicly available, but I'll probably start doing that soon and selling dies. It's just kind of a combo kit package type deal. So, but what we found was, if it's not sizing it enough, as you're gonna get clickers, and eventually it doesn't matter what die you use. A die can only go down so far. So eventually you're gonna get clickers. And the only way, I found and you found to eliminate that, I'm talking 15 to 20 firings. Eventually you're going to get clickers on that brass. And the only way to alleviate that would be with that new, universal roll sizer from down in Australia. So I've been using it for a while. I think you've been using it a little bit too.
Yeah, we're actually a dealer for it, so you can get them at our store. But yeah, I mean, I was, we always fight clickers, right? And that's why our dies, if you get our full, as if you get our full length sizing dies, they're going to be tighter than just about anything else out in the market for that reason, because we fight clickers all the time. And once you get them, they're yours. They're not going to, either you replace the brass or you figure out a way. And as you said, at some point, the die will no longer do anything. It's just going to spring back, because you can't anneal it, and you shouldn't. So I was at Chacho one year, and I was walking down, and all of a sudden I saw this thing on the table, and I said, kind of looked interesting. they had a piece of brass in there. So I started asking them what it was, and they said, it's a roll sizer. And he told me what it did. I'm like, I wouldn't be your dealer. And so I became a dealer and I actually brought that one off the table. I brought it home with me because I'm like, I need this, because it was in January, and Southwest Nationals is like 3 weeks after that. I said, I need this, and I need it now. So as soon as SHOT Show is over, I'm taking this home with me because I need to roll size a bunch of brass. And anyway, the rest is history. But yeah, now here's a question that I have. 300 Norma. I mean, that thing is massive already. What's the point of improving it? What are you getting out of it?
Well, blowing it out, you're increasing the H2O capacity like 7 grains off the top of my head, which that's not going to be 7, usable grains in your powder charge. It's usually about 3 or so. So, I mean, you can juice it up. One thing I found was after like 5 firings, you get no case growth. Like from firing 1 through 5, I had like 5 thou case growth. Well, then firing 6 through 20, I only had 5 thou more. So like it just doesn't move after you get a few firings on it. And then what I also found was, as you know, most of the time guys try hot rodding something, and those nodes are generally very narrow. So it's like, well, if you want more speed, use a bigger case. So I'm using the improved, but I'm using a somewhat mild load, but the node is a grain wide. It's like 0.9 grains. When I did my ladder test, it was 0.9 grains wide for ES was the same. It was like 8 for 0.9 grains. And it's like, okay, well, that's a stable node. It never moves in and out with different temperatures and all that. And it's stupid accurate. I got a 7-pound 300 Norma improved with no optics or anything like that. My new barrel's a 22-inch barrel. I'm running suppressed, so shorter's better. But I'm running a 245 at 2750. And guys are like, oh, you neutered it. I'm like, well, I still have enough energy to drop an elk at 1,400 yards, which I'm not going to shoot that far to elk anyways. So it's like, why throw on another 4 inches of barrel length on there if I don't need it? It's useless for me. I don't need it. So, it's just an extremely accurate cartridge. And, when you tune them, I got a 900-yard range behind the shop. It's on the second floor I shoot out of. And I have airlines and stuff going into it, so I can put an airline with, it's got dryers throughout the airline so you don't get moisture in there. But you can cool the suppressor in the barrel down instantly. The suppressor could be 200 degrees and it'll go down to 70 degrees in less than a minute. So that as it's cooling, I'll go load a few more rounds, come back over, test a few more. But like once you tune them off a bipod carbon barrel, it'll shoot 2 to 3 inches at 900 yards consistently. And that's all the hunting rifles that I do. It's like, that's three shot groups. I'm not talking 10 shot groups because it's a carbon barrel. It'd take you an hour to be able to keep it cool to be able to do that. But I have done 10 shot groups over 10 days. I did 1 shot per day. One of the days I think I did 2 shots, but it was 12 hours apart or something like that. And that was on my WSM, and it was 3.5 inches tall at 900 yards for 10 shots. And it was, I had a 5.5 minute window of wind that I'd corrected for, and it was a 30-degree change in temps throughout that 10 days. But the Kestrel, as you know.
Okay. All right. We're back. So you were saying that you had so you corrected with the Kestrel. The Kestrel obviously corrected for density.
Yeah, it accounts for, it's the applied ballistics. It accounts for the shot angle, temperature, altitude, and all that stuff. But I was just surprised that it was that accurate that it could give me 10 shots at 900 over 10 days. That was 3 inches tall. 8 out of 10 were in a 7-inch group. And there's a 22-inch carbon barrel, with a suppressor on it shooting off a bipod. I had 2 shots that went out to the right that opened the group up to like 14 inches or something like that, but it was 3 inches tall. So that's pretty good. That'll for sure take down an elk. I don't know if you've seen our ethical hunter challenge that we do on my YouTube channel. I've seen it a few times. Yeah.
My goodness, it's very controversial because number one, it's 500 yards and the kill zone is only 1 MOA. And I understand that's not the actual kill zone. However, this is a challenge, and this is meant to see if the shooters can hit what they're aiming at. And the way I thought about it is, hey, if you're laying prone, there's no equipment limitations. There's no time limitations. A 1MOA target, I believe, is a good metric to see if you can hit what you're aiming at. Because 1MOA, right? Everybody says they sub-MOA. Well, let's see if you can do sub-MOA. But the biggest controversy is always saying, well, those are not hunting rifles, To which I reply, well, define a hunting rifle, because the definitions are drastically different. Like, if you're going to be hiking up a mountain, then you're probably going to want something like what you're talking about, something pretty lightweight, easy to carry, short. But I don't know if you were hunted in Texas. We take the rifle into the deer blind, and we drive to the deer blind, we grab the rifle, take it in there with a sandbag, you set it down, and then you throw this mass. I mean, I hunt with my PRS rifle because why not,
Yeah, you're not hiking up a mountain 5 miles.
Not even. So obviously a hunting rifle can be, in my opinion, anything that you can hunt with. But it's, I would assume, for long range, like, is there, let's just say you have a client. Forget that you're a gunsmith for a little bit. Let's just base this answer on your hunting experience. If somebody says, hey, I want to take a shot at 500 yards, should they have a custom rifle built, or should they simply go and buy something off the shelf?
It really depends. It comes down to, is it that once in a lifetime hunt? Where, some of those can be extremely expensive, and a once in a lifetime hunt could also be not a super crazy expensive hunt, just something that due to time constraints, a guy can't go on very often. So, he draws an elk tag or antelope tag or whatever, and, your stuff's going to get abused. And as your challenge shows, just because your gun shoots 1 MOA, that doesn't mean it's going to shoot 1 MOA at distance. So, if you can get your rifle to shoot quarter minute, all of a sudden, as your error for wind call is a little bit greater, because you shrank it down a little bit. 500 yards, you don't need, a custom rifle. You could go grab an off-the-shelf rifle, and 500 yards on an elk, that's not much. That's not hard to ask for. Anything will really do that if you put a decent scope on it and all that, and try a few different types of ammo. But if you want to reach past that consistently, you need to, do your hand loads, tune it for the rifle. And the custom rifle just makes it a lot easier to tune because it's better built. It's got better components all around. It's got a better ignition. It's got a custom barrel. You don't have to, as opposed to like a factory Remington 700 or something, you're going to have to do a lot of stuff to it to bring it up to the same standards as a custom action. And at that point, you got more money in that 700 fixing it than you do, say, a Kelbley or a Pierce Engineering Shadow or, whatever. There's a lot of custom actions out there, but you're better off if you're wanting to shoot long range consistently to go with a custom rifle. In my opinion, if a guy doesn't want to spend the money, then, there's some other, options that aren't quite as expensive, that still shoot really good. It just depends on what a guy's budget is. But, a lot of my clients go all over, Alaska, they go the Yukon, they go over to Asia and all that stuff. So like they're spending a lot of money. So the money for a custom rifle to ensure that where you point it, that bullet's going to go as long as you're fine on the wind. You got to call the wind, but the expense for that rifle after all those hunts is pretty minuscule in the grand scheme of things, especially if you can, confidently say, hey, there's an antelope or there's an elk or something at 1,000 yards. I guarantee I'm going to kill it if I pull the trigger, because there's, I've had, certain hunts where, hey, there's something, I think the longest I shot something was 1150. or 1200, but there wasn't enough wind out there. It was dead calm. And I'm shooting this Uber Magnum that there wasn't enough wind to even blow it halfway out of the vitals. And the thing shot like an F-class rifle. It's like, yeah, I would have bet any amount of money that when I pulled the trigger, that animal was dead. It just comes down to your ability, your knowing your rifle. It takes a lot of practice, and you got to be able to tune and keep up on it and all that stuff. But I don't know. A custom rifle isn't for everybody. Not everybody needs that, obviously. So
you just talked about the shooter's ability. I think 500 yards. It doesn't matter what rifle you're shooting. I believe obviously a custom rifle is going to be more predictable. But yeah, 500 yards it's not drastically tough. But I believe it requires the shooter to be trained and very well, and
you have to know your limit.
They have to, exactly, and they have to know their way. Like 500 yards for you or I or anybody else that's done as much competition as we have at 1,000 yards, 500 is fairly easy, with the right.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to do it with any rifle, right? I guess you have to have. In my opinion, you got to work it backwards. You have to first get the experience, and then once you have the experience, then you know what kind of rifle you need. If you don't have the experience, it's hard to buy the rifle because you really don't know what's gonna, you don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah. So and I tell guys too. One. Yeah. I tell, because I've had guys ask me what's my max range. And I go, my max range depends on the animal that I'm shooting at. It depends on the wind out there. Because that's huge. If it's dead calm, my limit that I would shoot something is a heck of a lot farther than if it's 20 mile an hour winds. That cuts it down in half. All of a sudden, you're looking at, I wouldn't want to shoot much past 500 yards in a 20 mile an hour wind. We've done it on antelope, and we 10 ringed them. My wife did it. My brother-in-law did it. I was calling wind for him and all that and dialing for him, and they 10 ringed them. They're like, holy crap. They literally just fell over. But it's like, you got to know your rifle. You got to know your limitations.
You know you're an F-class guy when you call it 10 ringing it, when when you hit them in the zone.
Yeah.
Again, I think 500 yards, it doesn't require a whole lot of training, but you still have to train. You have to know your way around the rifle. You have to know, you have to be able to dial the scope without looking at it. You know what I'm getting at? Like the wind, everything has to be second nature. I recently had a guy that asked me, he wants to get into long range and he wants to shoot a mile. He said, I want to shoot a mile. What kind of rifle should I get? I said, well, you need 2 rifles. I said, if you're going to do a mile, you need 2 rifles. I said, because the rifle that you need for a mile is not a good rifle for you to learn on. Mm-hmm. And the rifle that you need to learn on is not going to be a good rifle for a mile. So you're going to probably need 2 rifles. Because I said, if you just want to learn kind of the ins and outs of shooting, you don't have to shoot a mile to learn how to shoot a mile. You can shoot 500 yards. It's 500 yards is a lot easier to find than a mile. So I said,
mm-hmm.
If all you have is 500 yards, go get you a 223 rifle. And that's going to drift a lot.
Teach you how to read the wind.
But it's going to teach you how to read the wind. And the recoil is going to be very minimal, that you're going to be able to shoot it a lot. The ammo's not going to be super expensive. I said, but that's probably going to be a good rifle for you to learn on. If you want some more than that, maybe a 6.5 Creed, 308, something along those lines. 6 arc, something 6.5 Grendel, but not in an AR, like a rifle. I said, you need a rifle. I said, once you are really good at 500 yards with a 223, 308, 6.5 Creed, and I'm talking like really good, like in the wind and in all conditions. If you can hit a 1MOA just about at any point, at any time, then you're ready to go to a mile. And then if you have a 6.5 Creed, you could actually take that to a mile. It's going to be tough, but
impacts will be impossible to see if you don't hit the steel. But
and but I said, now you're talking about like a, I don't know, 300 WSAM, 300 Norma, something 7 7 PRC would do it for a mile. I said, and then now that's going to be your mile rifle, but that's a whole different category. It's, in my opinion, it's not the same. I recently went and shot a mile for the first time, and I did it with a 7 Psalm, and it went transonic. It was actually 1,776 yards. So it went transonic, at about 1,750 or so, like right about a mile.
Mm-hmm.
But, 180 hybrids, just kind of, just like an F-class rifle. And, it worked, but so the Psalm is actually, I would say it's kind of on the lower end of what could get it done.
Yeah.
But a 7 PRC should be able to get there fairly good. And then that would also be a good rifle to hunt with,
Yeah. Yeah, we were down in Texas a couple of years ago. We'd finished up shooting some aoudad and stuff like that. And we're like, hey, we got some extra ammo. And, there's rocks everywhere on the mountainsides and stuff. And we're like, well, let's stretch them out and stuff. So I had I had my 300 Norma, and we found a rock at 1,910 yards. And this is another thing, like shooting a distance, you need to have time to read the wind, look at the terrain and all that. It's not, oh, there's an elk 900 yards away, run down, lay down, shoot it 10 seconds later. No, if you want to actually, be ethical about it, you need to know what, to the best of your abilities, know what the wind is doing. So like we sat down and we looked at everything for a while, and we had an elk vital sized rock on this cliff, at 1,910 yards. And I laid down and I cold bored it. And the guides were like, holy crap. And I sent 2 more and right into it. So I sent 1, 2, 3 into elk vitals at 1,900 yards. Now, I'm not saying I could do that every time, because that's not possible. And, but, if you can lay down and your rifle, your ESs are stupid tight, and you have a 245 Burger going fast. That was a 26-inch barrel, so it was going a little over 2,900. And it actually, ballistically, it beats a 338 with a 300 grain Burger until that 300 grainer is going over 100 feet per second faster.
Wow.
So essentially, I was shooting a 300 grain Burger over 3,000 feet per second when I did it, if you want to talk ballistics for wind and all that stuff. But yeah, just got to know your rifle. And my buddies had their WSMs and stuff, and they did not cold bore it. They tried it with their 6.5 Psalm, and they did not cold bore it. Like those things blew around a little bit more. So whenever guys ask me, I want a big long range hunting rifle, for elk past 800 yards, I say go with the Norma with a 245 Burger, because it just cuts the wind. It's such a massive advantage for energy and cutting the wind, which the wind is something you can't control. So, go with something that gives you the best advantage, for what you're going to be doing with it. Now, if you're never going to shoot past 800 on an elk, you don't need a big 300 Norma or a Norma improved or a 338 or anything like that. But, if you're going on these hunts a lot and you can extend your range a bit more ethically, ethics is up for debate, but I just look, my max is, when I lay down, I know with over 90% certainty that I'm going to hit what I'm aiming at. To where if it doesn't hit it, it's like, I don't know why that didn't happen. Like it should have, you need to be pretty much 100% that you're going to hit what you're aiming at when it comes to long range. It's not just sling lead down until you hit it. That's not long range hunting. That's not hunting, period.
Is that 245 a hunting bullet or a match bullet?
Both. Found out it works great on game.
Well, that's another thing. When some of the shooters do our ethical hunter challenge, the viewers go, well, that's not even a hunting bullet. And I go, what is a hunting bullet? The Burger VOD used to be a match bullet.
Yep.
Now it's their hunting bullet.
Yep.
I know for a fact the 180 hybrid works extremely well on whitetail deer. It's a match bullet, but it does an excellent job. So apparently, match bullets can also be hunting bullets and vice versa, right?
Yep. We're taking the 180s this weekend to Cal Elk trip out to Montana. I got a 7 Sherman Mega with a 22-inch barrel. flinging the 180s at 2,900. It's a super mild load. But yeah, those 180s, they work great on game. And like a lot of the burgers, just like the 245s, they go in and then they vaporize the vitals, which is what I want. I don't want something to pencil in, pencil out. I've had bad experience with a solid bullet on bear up in Alaska. That black bear, actually, everybody had said, you got to use a solid, you got to use a solid. And so I did, and I shot that bear 5 times through the lungs with my 300 Norma, and I was going like 250 feet per second faster than the manufacturer's recommended impact velocity, and it was penciling in, penciling out. My guides are watching it through their spotting scopes. They're like, dude, you are just drilling it dead center. Like, why won't it go down? And ever since then, after we skinned it out and everything, it was just pencil in, pencil out, no expansion, nothing whatsoever. And ever since then, I've used burgers, and doesn't matter what it was. Like my brown bear that I ended up shooting with my buddies up there, it was like 150 yards away or whatever. And 230 burger, it stopped and it looked right at us. I sent it right through there, and it went in and just vaporized everything. It did a circle, and I shot it again, and then it fell right into the river. Like, I didn't need to shoot it again, but I told my buddies, hey, this is a big ornery bastard. I don't want to go into the alders with something that's not dead. So I'm going to shoot it until it's dead. And we had to drag it out of the river. But, you know, those burgers, they just go in and destroy everything. Now, yeah, there's probably going to be some meat damage on a lot of stuff that you shoot, but I'd rather have just to, you know, throw 5 pounds of meat away than have to track something for a half a mile or something like that. I want to see it go down. So burgers is what I use for everything. So.
Yeah. Like I said, I've seen those 180 hybrids. They on whitetail deer, they actually go all the way through, and they put a nasty hole on the other end.
Yeah. Yep.
So, you know, hunting, that seems to be your thing. Whatever. I know recently you just went to the F-class nationals. You kind of, so what kind of got you back into wanting to shoot F-class?
Well, I'd done a 300 WSM hunting rifle for myself, and the groups that I was getting out of it, you know, 2 to 3 inches consistently at 900 off a bipod. That was like the average of like 12 groups or something like that. I'm like, I should try this in an F-class rifle. I bet this thing will shoot pretty good. And I got it to shoot pretty good. I went to my first match in 9 years, was not this year, but last year at the mid-range nationals, and it was the absolute windiest conditions load I had ever had. It was a crapshoot. It was terrible. It was 25 mile an hour winds, and it would switch by the time you got back on your rifle. It'd switch directions. I mean, there was 7s and 8s by everybody. Like, it was not ideal. And so this year I went to a 300 Sherman Mega because I kept wanting to push the WSM, and as you know, pushing them, you're not going to get the results you want. So I'm like, I'll just do a Mega. It's a little bit bigger, and I'll just do a cupcake load, and they're hammering. The nodes are really wide, not pushing it, and it shot really good. My SDs for both rifles are 4 for over 50 shots, and that's not bullshit. They've done that a few times now. My ESs are like 15 or 16 for 50 shots. It's stupid. So yeah, I went and shot a long range match. First one in 9 years was at Lodi. The regional, I got Creedmored. I got second place. Got Creedmored out of first. But I was still happy. And then I got second at the...
Let me explain what Creedmored means. For those of you that don't know what that means, he tied. And the Creedmoor rule means, so typically in F-class, you go by the score. If 2 people tie, they go down to the X count. Whoever has the higher X count wins. However, if you tie down to the X count, they apply what they call is the Creedmoor rule, which they start from the back and work. They call it count back, or here in the States, they call it the Creedmoor rule. And for example, if Ryan shot an X, and I shot an X on the last shot, you go to the previous shot, and then you keep going until somebody had a lower shot. And it sounds like you had the lower shot at some point.
Yep.
So you got second place.
Yep. So yeah, I tweaked the loads a little bit after that, and went up to the Minnesota State Championship and got second on that one. And it was a fun match. There were some really good shooters there. I tweaked the loads a little bit more after that, and I'm like, okay, now they're really dialed. I feel pretty good for nationals. Granted, that was only my second match, long range match in a long time, but I felt really confident about it. The guns were absolutely hammering. I mean, one of them was like a little under 3 inches tall for 20 shots at 900. So, I mean, it's like, really can't get better than that. And so, I went and, yeah, I was really happy with how nationals went. I didn't get the first relay. That was a nice relay. Bill, he shot 200 with 17.
Wow.
But I mean, I've never seen Lodi that calm before ever. And I've shot there a lot, but you know, when Earl lights the cannon off for the, Pledge of Allegiance, the smoke did not move for 10 minutes.
Wow. So
like there was not a fly's fart worth of wind out there. And there was a pile of 200s with high X count. So I was third relay for that one, and got a 211 or 12 or something like that, which was way down the list.
yeah. That, when it's calm, that's how you know who's got the good guns.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
now,
it was not calm when I shot.
So let me ask you this: since you've been gone for 9 years and now you're back, 9 years ago there were not that many cleans on the line.
Never.
And now you come back 9 years later, and it seems like everybody's shooting clean.
Yeah. Yeah, the competition's definitely gotten a lot stiffer. I mean, in the last 10 years, it's crazy how much things have come along as, you know, for the rifles, bullets have gotten a little bit better too. A lot of pretty much don't even have to sort them now. But guys are using tuners. Nobody used a tuner 10 years ago, except for maybe John Myers and maybe, you know, a couple other guys. You did a while ago too, but like you can count them on one hand, guys that used a tuner.
Right.
Back then. And now
I started using tuners, but I was hiding mine in plain sight. Mine, yep. If you remember.
Blended, finally, wasn't it?
Finally. Yeah, I blended it in. I didn't want nobody to know that, that I had a tuner.
Yep.
Because it was an advantage. And now, I mean, everybody's got tuners.
Yeah. And people say that they don't work. It's like the target doesn't lie.
Believe the target.
Believe the target, because it does not lie.
So you built the F-class rifle. So you said it was what was it, a 300 Sherman mag? Or max?
Yeah, the Mega. Yep. It's just a WSM improved. I mean, it's not near a PRC for size. The 300 PRC is not even anywhere near that. It just lets me run I got a 215 load that's at like 2,900. It's not hot. It's a mile wide though. It doesn't leave that node. You can go over 100 rounds between cleanings. And I got a 230 load too that's a mile wide. I'm not pushing it, but you know, it's a mile wide and the brass lasts forever. So
what bullets were you shooting? 230s?
Both.
For F-class? Mm-hmm. So now you went to the F-class nationals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you talk about how the first relay was dead calm. Of course, you didn't get that one. You had to shoot third, which is something that I still got. I don't know why they do that. Back in 2016, they had nationals there, and 2017. 2016, I didn't go to the nationals. So 2017, when I went, they put me on fourth relay. Everybody else was on relay 1 and I was on fourth. And I asked them why. They said, because you weren't here last year. Well, that's not how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to be by classification. Now, I assume everybody now is a freaking high master. So I guess it's hard. But they threw me on relay 4th, and you know what that does. You know, and of course, the rest of the days is seat squatting. And I got myself up to the relay with all the other guys leading, but my goodness, that's a big disadvantage when they throw you into like you got thrown into a third relay versus first.
Fortunately, it wasn't atrocious wins, but I still cleaned it. I had to fight for it.
Yeah, it could have been really bad.
It could have been. Yeah. I think there
Oh,
was only one other guy on my relay that cleaned it, but
how many on relay
yeah,
one?
there was a whole
Almost
page of them,
everybody.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, so you're back. You bring a 300 Sherman Mega. I can't keep
Yep.
up. I can't keep up. We make dies for them, and I still can't keep
Yep.
up with how many different names they have. Because they
Yep.
have a Max and a Mega, Max, Mega, whatever.
Yep.
But anyway, so you bring a 300 Sherman Mega and shooting 230s and 215s.
hmm
Why did you have both? You just didn't know
Just
which
one barrel. I had
Ah,
started out with those, and they shot, and I'm like, okay, we'll just keep these rather than waste barrel life messing with something else. You're just gonna keep that. And I'm like, okay, I got another rifle, another barrel. I'll try the 230s. Oh, these shoot really good too. Okay, well, guess we got both.
are these the same
So
rifles that you had back in 2015, or did you build new ones?
no, I built all brand new ones. One rifle's Borden's BRMXD, and he did the new firing pin control stuff to it, like the Black Knight has. And the other rifle is a Bat Nouveau. Hope I pronounced it right. Chris, don't
Yeah,
kill me if I didn't.
I don't know how to pronounce it either. I would
Yeah,
call it
and
Nuevo.
so yeah, Nuevo.
Yeah.
That could be too. And then yeah, I got the ANS stocks from Italy. And then the Bix triggers, March 8 to 80s. I got those after I got one in to compare it to my Collis, and I was like, wow, this March is crazy clear. You can just read the Mirage so much better at the high magnifications. Even when there's a lot of Mirage, I was at like 50, 60 most of the time. Once in a while, I'd back it down a little bit more, but for the most part, I was at 60 the whole match. So yeah, stuff has definitely come a long way since
Oh, absolutely.
last had an F-class rifle.
So sounds like you built some rifles on a budget.
Yeah, the whole March. And, yeah.
My goodness. Hey, but
Yeah, I didn't really dip my feet into it when I came back.
yeah. So I mean, you've been there, done that. You know what it takes. Obviously, you showed up trying to win.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that that's what's required to shoot, because you can shoot F class with a off the shelf rifle, off a bipod. It's fine. It'll meet the rules. But for you, if you want to come back and try to win, obviously you haven't been in the game, but you know what people are shooting because you're a gunsmith. So
Yeah.
you kind of know what's out there, what's winning, what's doing well. And yeah, that's kind of the level of rifle that you need to build if you want to win. Like, and it's still not.
If you're going to take a
guarantee.
week off, you're not going to waste your time if your rifle is not tuned. That's just, stay home. Like
Right.
in my case, I'm not going to go to a match if that rifle is not absolutely hammering. Why waste the time and all that off work, away from the family and all that stuff? It's like, I know what it takes. That rifle better be capable of all X's if you call the wind right.
Right.
So-
So you ended up getting second place. at
Yeah, I
Nationals.
was in the lead after the first day, I was in the lead. Second day, I was in the lead. I was in the lead all the way up to the last relay. And
Isn't that funny how that works?
yeah, so that's how it works. And Ryan Mitchell was shooting next to me, and I shot pretty fast, and he was done about the same time. And that was the windiest relay we had at that match up to that point. And I look over, I'm like, how'd you do, man? He's like, I dropped one. And I'm like, holy shit, congratulations. That's amazing shooting considering the conditions. Congratulations. You just won, man. That's awesome.
So I was
dropped
watching.
3, so.
I was watching the matches. I don't know. I'm sure you're aware, but on the shot marker, you could watch it from home.
Yep.
And I don't know if you noticed how fast you got the text from me when you got.
I
done
did,
shooting.
yeah.
Because I was watching, man, and I'm sitting here at home because I didn't go to nationals, but I'm sitting here at home I'm watching, and I'm seeing his target, and I'm switching over to yours, and I see you drop one, and then now he's in the lead, and then he drops one, and now you guys are tied, and then you drop another one, and I'm seeing I mean, you do this enough, right? I could see it was windy. Obviously, I was just looking at the target, but when you would get blown one way and he'd get blown the same way, and I'm like, okay, it's windy, because these guys are compensating, and it's still getting blown out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The drop offs were kind of quick.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, you guys go the other way. And I'm like, you know, it was fun watching. But yeah, as soon as it was over, I text you, because that was some impressive. I mean, for being off for 9 years and coming back and finishing second at the F-Class Nationals and leading the way for literally up until the last 5 shots, that's incredible. Second place is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, that's a great performance. And,
I was really happy.
yeah, I would assume that you were pleased, but then again, being that close to to the victory,
yeah, it happens. I've had that before. The Spirit of America a long time ago. I was in the lead the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and then Danny Biggs on the last relay came back and dropped a couple less points than I did, and he won, and I got second.
That guy. That's
how it goes.
Yeah, it's but that's just F-Class. And I guess any other sport is the same way. When you're competing at that level, you know, it sounds like, oh, he beat you by 2 points. You missed him by like that much. Like it's
some days they squeak in and some days they squeak out.
That's what I tell people when I won the South Africa Nationals, when I was down in South Africa. You know what you know, there were manual targets, and you know how you see the score, you see the shot marker before you see the score, right? And it'd come up and it'd be right on the line, and I'm like, oh man, is that a 4 or a 5? You know, and when I won the Nationals, it seemed like all the liners were 5s. And then, of course, you know, a few days later, we shoot the World Championship, and seemed like all the liners were 4s. It just, every time it came up a line, it was a 4, and I'm like, oh, and it just, you know, you're just losing ground. And it seems like my performance was not any different. It just seemed like luck was not on my side anymore.
Yeah.
Every liner was a 4, but when I won, they were all 5s. And that's just, I mean, we're talking 1/8 of an inch difference, right?
Yeah.
But that's, you got to believe the target. And the target said that I didn't win the World Championship, and whoever won it, they did an amazing job, obviously. And that's all there is to it.
Yep, they squeak in or they squeak out.
Yeah, it's that simple. Now, in Texas, I've been the match director for the last 2 years, and I completely changed the format. I went to pair fire. So the Texas State Championship is pair fire, which, as you know, you got to really read the wind, because you can't string fire. And that has, in my opinion, really helped shooters become better wind readers.
Yeah.
Because you have no
definitely.
The other thing it does, I think, is it makes them realize how good of wind readers they are if they actually pay attention to the wind. Because when they're string firing, oftentimes they just chase the spotter and go. But when you're pair firing, you don't have a spotter to chase, right? Because you shoot, then your opponent shoots. Now, some guys still want to chase their opponent's spotter, which is extremely dangerous because you don't know where they held. But because they have to pay attention, they have to look. It kind of makes them better. It makes them realize that they're actually better wind readers than they thought, and it makes them better overall, in my opinion.
Yeah. Lodi was those conditions. Most of the relays, when it started getting windy, those were, you better shoot really fast while watching the wind flags and mirage, and just shoot as fast as you can rather than pick it, because you were going to get eaten, in my opinion. And I think Ryan Mitchell in his interview said the same thing. Those were not picking conditions. Those were shoot really fast, stay on top of it, adjust on the fly. Like, there was times where it'd come up an X and the flags looked the same, but the Mirage did not. And so I would aim out another 2 lines and I'd get a 10 or an X. That took some, it took a little bit of guts to do that, but I mean, it paid off. But like the flags just hadn't picked up to it yet. Some of the flags were upwind or downwind.
2 lines is 1 MOA. So
yeah,
he would move a full MOA. He'd get another 10, but if he didn't, he'd get an 8. And there was a lot of 8s to be had. I was watching the scores. I mean, the targets, and that was also just looking at the targets. It was impressive to see kind of you, Ryan Mitchell, and Tyler Pope.
Yep.
You guys were just like hammering 10s and X's. And then I'd look at somebody else, and man, they'd be all over that target, like 8s and 9s, and that showed me, without being there, how tough it was and how good of a job you guys were doing, because it's not easy.
I was shooting really fast. It was, as long as my impact came up where I thought it would, I would shoot within like 1 second.
Yeah.
It was just, I was already aimed where I knew it I should be. And if it came up a surprise, then I'd adjust accordingly. But there was no dancing around. It was send them down because the wind was not staying the same. It would let off big time.
Yeah. So, you know, sometimes, and again, it's all about strategy, right? That was your strategy. That's what was working. Sometimes that doesn't work, and you got to pivot and go, okay, I got to pick my way through this. And, you know,
got to know when to pump the brakes.
Yeah. That's the key right there. You got to know when, but at the same time, you have to not be afraid to do it. There's so many newer shooters that they're terrified of stopping.
Yeah.
Because they go, if I stop, when do I jump back in? I don't know how to jump back in, right? And I tell them, I said, hey, what's your confidence level that you'll hit a 9 if you jump back in at any point? And they're like, well, it's pretty high. I said, well, then stop. And worst case, you hit a 9. But more likely, if you don't stop, you're going to hit more than 1 9 trying to stay with it. Because as you know, once it gets erratic, you can't catch it. And then you start getting vertical shots, and you start getting everything. It just goes everywhere. So just stop sometimes, but sometimes just keep on trucking. If it's working, don't stop.
Yeah.
So are you back?
I signed up for the Southwest Nationals within like 30 seconds because I'd heard that they sell out instantly. So I made sure I had my credit card, everything ready to instantly do it when they opened up. So I'm going to plan on bringing the kids and wife down and do some hiking and do some shooting and make a little family vacation out of it. But I mean, I'm not going to get back into it super serious just because the time required for these matches, you know, you take a week off work. Well, honestly, I'd rather spend a week up in the mountains with my family than a week at a match. But, you know, I'll shoot a few matches here and there. But this weekend we're heading out to Montana and we're going to shoot some cow elk and fill the freezer up and, you know, do some hiking and scenery and all that stuff. So,
have you heard of the V2 finale?
I have, yeah. I've seen a couple of them, the live on the computer. Looks like it'd be pretty cool. I just haven't looked into it too much.
Well, you got points now. If you got second on nationals, you're more likely going to get an invitation.
Oh, cool.
So that is a match unlike anything you've ever done, because it's double elimination format. 32 get invited, 32 open, 32 TR. And so you can imagine the top 32 are invited. So there's no easy targets there. Nobody's easy there. And on day one, you have to shoot best 2 out of 3, 15 shot matches, pair fire. You got to shoot on the same target, same conditions, same firing point. And there's no aggregate score. So whoever wins the best 2 out of 3 stays on the winning bracket. The other person goes to the lower bracket, to the loser bracket. And then if they lose one more time, they're out. So you can shoot clean. I've seen 150 with 12 lose to a 150 with 13. You know, and it's just every shot is so important because it's
Yeah.
not an aggregate thing. Like I say, you can shoot the best score you've ever had, and just like in F-class, you know how sometimes you shoot at, like you just said, at 211, but there was 217s. Well, if you do that at V2 Finale, you're going to the loser bracket, buddy.
Yep.
And it's 2 convertible siders, and on, you know, once you advance, you know, it starts on day 1, then it goes in day 2 and 3 go to 10-shot matches, so they're over pretty quick. So when it's calm, oftentimes in F Open, they don't take the 5s. If they shoot 2 5s for cider, like, I don't want them, because they know it's going to come down to Vs, you know?
Yep.
And I've seen 50s with 9 Vs. It's like, it's at 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
That's 9 out of 10 in the half MOA freaking circle pair fire, not string fire, pair fire.
That's incredible.
So it's, oh my goodness, I get excited just talking about it, because talk about pressure and talk about, I mean, your adrenaline is pumping, buddy, because it's, you know, and if you leak one out, all of a sudden you need them to leak one out, otherwise you're out, you know?
Yeah.
And something they do, and then all of a sudden they got you on the V count. It's there's no ties. If by the end of the stage, if you guys are tied, you guys keep shooting until somebody has a lower score, and that's it. Anyway, it's you're gonna get an invitation more likely because you got second in national. That should get you enough points to go. But I would suggest that you go to that one. You got to do it at least once.
Where's it gonna be at? Or where?
I can't disclose that yet, but it's
okay.
It's gonna be at the first. So we're on year 5, I think. So I think the first 3 years we had it in Tennessee at Dead Zero. The last couple of years we had it at Bayou Rifle Club in Houston, but now we're moving it again. So we're trying to make it a traveling match. And or it is a traveling match. So the new location hasn't been. We're very close to securing it, but I'm not ready to announce it. But it's going to be a place that we're looking for places that have wind, obviously, because it just makes everything more challenging, more exciting.
Yep.
So anyway, I think that's going to be one that you're really going to enjoy.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ryan, that's awesome, man. I'm so glad that you're doing well, and that you decided to kind of like I said on that Facebook post, I'm like, really, I got to worry about you again? I didn't have to worry about you for almost a decade. But hey, man, I love it. I'm glad that you're back. I'm glad that you're doing well. Your family's doing well. It's just great catching up with you.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I can't wait till I get to lay down next to you on the firing line and give you some shit. I remember one time, I think it was Arizona, that me and you were laying next to each other, and we both stopped for like 5 minutes. And you're like, I think I'm going to send one. What do you think that's worth? And I'm like, oh, that's probably only worth 2 left. Totally BSing you. And you look down there for a second. You're like, no way.
Yeah, it's always fun. You know, it's always the you go. No, you go.
Yeah, we were waiting.
It's, as you know, Phoenix can get pretty wild. It's you know, the more time, the longer that I shoot F-class, the more I appreciate places with a lot of wind. I don't. I guess it comes down to me not worrying about winning anymore. I don't care if I win or not. Obviously, I prefer to win than to not win. But I really enjoy shooting at a place that can just absolutely kick my ass. I like that because it's like, and it just shows you how vulnerable we are after shooting this long, and all of a sudden that wind can really just get a hold of you. And once it gets a hold of you, you're done. You're just confused the whole time. Yep.
Yeah, it has a way of humbling you for sure.
Yeah. And, you know, and then you just go home going, well, and the problem is everything starts to become a question. It's like, did my rifle go out of tune? Is this barrel? And then you get home and you go shoot, and this thing's just driving tacks, and you're like, okay, no, it was just the wind and me not knowing what to do with it.
Yep.
So
it's crazy what some ranges can do to, some of them can cause some big vertical. And I found that out at Minnesota. There was some, just due to the terrain and the wind directions and all that, I'm like, this rifle doesn't lose vertical. And talking to some guys, they're like, oh yeah, it'll do that at this range. And got back home and, like you said, just driving tacks, and I'm like, it was the range. So, but you make those mental notes for next time. And at Lodi, the first time I shot it this year, I had noticed certain conditions would cause it up or down. And so I kind of just put that in the back of my mind for nationals, and, just, you definitely had to shade high or low depending on what it was doing. Otherwise you would lose some points. So
well, that's part of knowing the range and knowing knowing the range, knowing your gun, and being confident to do something about it. Because the most frustrating part for me is when I see a range condition that's going to cause some of that, elevation. I know it's going to do it, yet I don't do anything about it. And then I lose the point. Oh, that just drives me up the wall. Cause I just didn't follow through,
Just gotta trust yourself.
And then you do it long enough and it just becomes automatic.
Yeah.
Like you talk about the wind, how it was really switchy and fast paced, and you're trying to shoot fast. I don't know if you ever done this, but I've done it, without even thinking. Like I'm moving the joystick over to where, let's say I want to hold like right forward, and I'm moving it over to right forward. And as I'm going, I'm about to break the shot, and then I see like it picked up, and then as I'm moving the joystick, I pull the trigger, and I don't know, it just becomes like second nature. But it's like you're trying to shoot so fast, but it's a fast. Now, I'm not saying you guys should do this. I'm just saying I've done it. It's worked, but it's one of those things like when you're in the zone and it's like you're moving and just breaking shots, and it's just going where it's going. And then, the target keeps coming up 10 to Nexus, and you just going, okay. At some point, it's like I quit trying to aim small, and it almost becomes a rhythm. Like, just get it over there. Just get it over there. And I'm not so worried about trying to pinpoint, because I know speed is more important than absolute precision at that point. It's like I don't care if I turn this gun into a 6-inch gun or a 7-inch gun, because I know that'll still keep it in there. But if I spend that extra little time to make sure it's dead on, the wind's going to change enough that it'll blow me out. So.
Yep, that's exactly what I did at Lodi. I knew my gun shot really tight when I was like really careful, and fine-tuned. Like I just shot 10 shots the other day. It was 1.5 inches tall at 900. But you don't need 1.5 inches tall for for F class. So I would rather, like you said, I would rather shoot a lot faster in certain conditions, knowing it's going to be taller. But like you said, you're going to be inside the 10 ring instead of taking that extra time, and the wind's going to change and you're going to leak them out. You're going to gain a lot more points in certain circumstances by shooting fast, and you got to know when that is. So
that's the key. Ryan, thanks a lot, man. Thank you for being here.
It was good seeing you, man.
And stay in touch. Good luck on your hunt.
Definitely. Thanks. Yeah. Well, hopefully, are you going to make it down to Southwest?
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
Okay. Sounds good, man. Well, I'll see you there. And it was great catching up. We'll have to do it again.
All right, man. Take care.
Yep. See ya.